how to change your brokerage account into the name of your trust. So you might go about it through the actual institution, okay? And most of the time, you're going to be able to do this online. Fidelity is one of the most common places that people hold brokerage accounts, so I've used them as an example. You're going to get the option to change an account registration. They're going to give you lots of tips and tricks, and then basically they're going to ask you for a bunch of information that you'll probably enter multiple times. You know, like the account number is an example. Primary owner, who's the owner of the account now? Okay, this is going to be a familiar bank type form, and you're going to fill in the same amount of information like your name, social security number, and address a good bit. Before you begin actually filling out those forms, one thing you might want to have handy is the following information. Now, I just threw this together right now, and every institution is different. So one institution might ask for something not on this list. I can tell you for sure that I am not the institution that is holding your money, because if I was, I wouldn't be doing this video. I'd be sipping drinks on the beach and reading books and all that good stuff. So some things you are almost certainly going to need to do this are the official name of your trust. The current trustees will probably be you, maybe a spouse, maybe an adult child is the trustee of a trust, or maybe a corporation or a bank. You'll need the date of your trust, and a quick pro tip is sometimes institutions may ask for the date of birth of the trust. That's generally, at least the way we do it, the date the trust was created and signed. The tax ID number for your trust, this is something you shouldn't guess as to. Your attorney should tell you exactly, here's the tax ID number for the trust, and if you can use your social or your spouse's social, the attorney should tell you that, okay? So that's not one to guess on. Address you prefer, you can guess on that one, okay? That's totally up to you, is what I mean by that. Tax ID number for the trust, that is not up to you. Attorney tells you that. If they forgot to tell you that, call them and ask them. And then the last thing you'll need is the actual funding plan, okay? So the funding plan is the document, video recordings. I mean, you could just do it orally and not write it down. That'd be kind of silly, but whatever funding mechanism and tools that your attorney recommends to use in your case, you need to know that. So for example, does the attorney recommend putting the brokerage account into the trust, or naming the trust as the beneficiary of your brokerage account? What about your home? Is that going into the trust now or upon death? What about IRAs? Are those going into the trust now? Probably not. Or upon death? Maybe, or maybe not at all. Also possible. Same with vehicles. Do those go in the trust? If so, when? That's the funding plan. And if there's no funding plan, you got a problem. Okay, your estate planning attorney should have covered that, and if they didn't, call them and say, I need the funding plan, or consider other options. Okay, funding is very, very important. Every year trusts fall short because there's no adequate funding plan. All right, that's something our office would help you with, and it's something we help you implement and check in with you, that we make sure it gets done and things like that. We have checkpoints and check-ins with you to make sure it gets done. So those are some of the things you would need to do to actually log online, or if you just prefer to use the mail, print out the forms and get them notarized and mail them in. The last thing I want to point out is where you are in the process when you are funding your trust. Okay, and again, I just kind of threw this together, but we've done over 200 estate plans this year, so that I am able to kind of reproduce this rather quickly. Design of the plan should be done at this point. Your review of the plan should be done at this point. That should say sign. That's kind of funny. Sing. No, you should sing. Step 3 is to sing. Just sing whatever you want. Step 3 is to sign. No laughing matter. You should review before you sign. Okay. We reject this, we don't send you draft documents, you show up to sign, and it's like this hostage type situation where you've already paid and you don't want to sign, but you've already paid and you're not going to get electronic drafts before you can sign. We totally reject that paradigm. You should walk into your signing knowing what you're signing, and I will die on that hill. Step 4 is the funding plan should be created. Okay, so that funding plan thought goes into that. Okay, it's not something that ChatGPT can you can just pump it in there. Although maybe ChatGPT can give you a good first draft. I'm open to that. You are here, so you are on the funding sign stage. We include this in quotes because sometimes you don't sign. Like if you log on to change a beneficiary designation, you're probably not going to like put your PIN on your computer and sign on your screen. That would do damage to the screen. You might e-sign. You might just update the beneficiary designation by clicking. That's what I've done on some of my accounts. That's not really signing, so that's why I put sign in quotation marks there. Post-signing tasks is something we help clients with, making sure that insurance properly names trusts or LLCs that are owned by trusts as additional insured parties on your homeowner's insurance or your property insurance or your business insurance or things like that. Some homestead things as well. We want to make sure crypto is taken care of, digital legacies. Lots of post-signing tasks that are not hard, and they're actually kind of fun, and we enjoy helping clients with them. That's step 6. And then step 7 is celebrate. You just did your plan. You should feel good. You should go to Applebee's or wherever you want and have a nice meal, a beverage if you partake. Not a beverage if you don't partake. So you should celebrate, no joke. But that's where you are in the process when you're filling out a form like this. So remember, can't skip steps 1 through 4. I mean, you can, but I definitely don't recommend it. Step 5 is on the funding stage, the signing stage, post-signing celebrate. Remember where you're at when you're doing this, but that's a little bit about how to update a beneficiary form or change an account into the name of your trust. Make sure you have that information in there and make sure you've done steps 1 through 4 before you begin steps 5 through 7.